Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Sharifa and my poetry name is New Lily. If you're new to my channel, please check out the links located in the description box and comment section. And in both locations, you'll find an identical set of links. Links that lead to videos that talk about what started my targeting in 2020, as well as links that lead to videos that share information about the targeted individual program. Information about the tactics used on targets, information about the technology used on targets, and information about the program in general, y'all. Y'all, this is part 3. I didn't even think I'd be making a part 3 video, honestly. I was so sure that, I would be done with making the videos about the torture tactics that they do, right? I figured, okay, they're gonna chill out a little bit with what they're doing after I made that part 2 video. The same weird, creepy, disgusting ass tactics are being used, right? So it's weird energy, y'all. I'm telling you, like, they be sending me sensitization about certain things and it's so dumb. Like, it's just, I've never dealt with such weird energy in my entire life. Y'all, hold on, let the noise campaign plane dive down and fly by. Y'all, I've never been in a situation in my life where living my life and thriving was a problem. I've never been in a situation where combing my hair triggered people. I've never dealt with that before. I mean, I think everybody, especially if you're a female, because females are typically catty, right? I'm sure you've dealt with some level of drama or some sort of whatever, right, in your life if you're a female. But the level these people are taking things to, like, I know y'all have been keeping up with the videos over the last few months, what's been going on, right? The level that these people are taking things to. Listen to my part 1 and part 2 video, y'all, before you listen to this one, because you're going to be lost. And before you listen to those, check out this video. Part 1, the sabotaging and gaslighting of the targeted individual. Start there at that video and just move on through the videos, y'all, and look at what I have been through for the last 3 months. It's disgusting, the things that these people have put me through for things that are out of my control. They're getting bothered and triggered for things, for me living my life, because I'm living my life, y'all, and thriving despite everything that they try to do. They're getting angry and bothered. I've never dealt with anything like that in my life. I'm typically straight-laced, never been in trouble, like I told y'all. I was thrown into this thing out of spite. And so, of course, everything was impeded and sabotaged. Once you get thrown in, you have no rights. And then you have these nasty reactions. And so you piss off more people and they hop on board. They can see that what's happening to you is completely unfair. But if you have certain reactions and you piss off certain people, then the more they hop on. So it was the worst thing that I could have done when I sat there out of anger and I shared the Hebrew Israelite propaganda that I learned in this household. That was the worst thing I could have done while being targeted, because then I pissed off some powerful people in the mainland. So there's a lot of pull behind what's going on with me. It was already a lot of people involved, a lot of people that are higher up, because it started on this island. And I tried to leave and relocate to live my life and thrive. And they attached the shit to me. I hadn't done anything. They attached it to me. And the sabotage ensued. And I was stalked and harassed and all this horrible shit that happened to me. Almost lost my life. And then I had several reactions. And I shared offensive stuff in my car. And that was it. That was all she wrote. Then they had some powerful people backing them from the mainland. That was the worst thing I could have done. So anyways, y'all, just check out what's been going on it's been about 3 months of just horrible, unfair treatment due to things that are completely out of my control. It's disgusting. That's the only word I can think. That adjective isn't strong enough to describe how I feel about it. It makes my skin crawl. That's how I feel about it. And I can't get away from it. Anyway, so, if you check out the part 2 video yesterday, I was telling y'all what they've been doing for the last couple days, right? Again, punishment for stuff that's out of my control. Things have amped up a little bit, right? Doing weird stuff due to whatever I talked about in part 1, right? So now today, I'm thinking it's going to be a good day. I worked last night. Everything was fine. I made that video, like I said, talking about what I talked about. They were flying by. Y'all heard it in the video, right? When I was exposing what they did to me at the call center, where they gave me all those hours at the call center and made it seem like I had like this stable position, and I learned the job quickly, and I was doing everything I was supposed to do, and they were doing a bunch of gang stalking stuff, horrible stuff. And then there was this night, I talked about it in the part 2 video, where this incident occurred, where they sent in purposefully a scenario they knew I hadn't been trained for. This cleaning lady, they were sending in this other cleaning lady that was doing horrible stuff. And then, of course, they were punishing me for that, too. Anyway, so then they sent in this other cleaning lady now, randomly. And she's telling me she used to have an employee number, but she doesn't have one anymore. But she's just coming in tonight to clean. Can I issue her a badge, a temporary badge? They had only trained me on how to issue temporary badges to people who already had active permanent badges. So I'm like, they trying to throw me a wrench, a curveball. And she had this look on her face like she figured I wouldn't know how to do it. So I said, let me play with this computer. And I started looking through the prompts. And I started finding the options, the different options, and scrolling through all the different lists and stuff. And I came across an option that said temporary badge, custodial worker, guest. So I was able to actually issue her the temporary badge. I was able to put it in the system and issue her a temporary badge. But because she didn't have an active badge in the system, I wasn't able to check off grant all access. I wasn't able to check off that she would get the same privileges that's on her active badge, her permanent badge, as she would on the temporary badge. So you can get the full breakdown of what happened there, right? So I tried to still finagle the thing, right? And I put it in the system and I was able to issue her the badge, but the badge was inactive. So I found a loophole. And what I did was I issued myself a temporary badge. I left my permanent badge active so I could still get through the place too. And then in the logbook where we're supposed to log when we give out badges, I just wrote a note that I issued a temporary badge via my account to the custodial worker. And then, of course, when she left, she gave it back to me and I deactivated the badge. So she had a badge for the night. But when I went back to the loud laughing and cackling stuff they were doing when they thought I didn't know what I was doing, stopped. And she looked shocked. They looked surprised and somber. And then they left the place. And then literally, I kid you not, a week after that, I had lost all my hours at that job. They just completely moved me from... I was like, huh? I was like, what the heck? I was showing up on time. If they needed to work an extra shift, I would do it. I did. I worked an extra shift. I learned the stuff quickly. This is what I'm dealing with, y'all. So then I dealing with all the unfair shit I'm dealing with. They send a manipulative, lying ass, fucking false ass narrative shit with the technology. And again, projecting their bad behaviors on me. So when they sent me the thing with the technology, I forgot what it was they sent me. What freaking gaslighting shit they sent me. I started going off in the kitchen. This was just literally maybe 3 weeks ago, right before they gave me the post at the facility again. I started going off in the kitchen about how unfair the stuff they do is and what has been done, right? As far as working and stuff goes. And I started going off about certain activity and treatment I was getting from certain people because I had a conversation with someone in my close circle where she was talking about this lady from her job that was kind of moving with her. The same way that a lot of them move with me. I'm like, what the fuck? I said I've been dealing with that with a lot of people. With a lot of, that type of treatment. Where it's like you're just pissed and angry with me. You're saying subliminal stuff. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I can't help what I have or what I have going on. So anyways, this is the stuff I'm dealing with, though. So when I started talking about it in the video yesterday, what they did at the call center, all of a sudden the plane's flying by like they're giving me my job back. I know y'all heard it. If you listen to the part 2 video, flying like they're going to give me my job back and then chirping and going ham. I'm like, okay, I know what I've been dealing with, but okay. I know what they've been doing. But I was like, okay. So anyways, nonetheless, now today comes, and it seemed like a normal thing. The workers were coming in and they were being friendly. Like, I even had one that usually revs in, and she's usually like real hardcore. She usually revs in her truck. She even kind of nodded at me. I was like, huh? I was like, okay, maybe things are getting better. Look, they're doing the bipolar chirping now. Look, they're doing the bipolar chirping now, right? But they were just doing horrible stuff all day long, again. So anyways, I this morning, after I got off, I just went home and, I did my thing. I bathed, went to sleep or whatever. And then when I woke up, I got myself together. I combed my hair. What happened is, y'all, I did my hair. It's not looking a fuzzy mess anymore. I had these fuzzy braids in. It wasn't looking terrible. I know how to style my hair. I'll tie it down with the do-rag if it's fuzzy. Or I'll put it in a bun and it looks cute. But I did my hair, so I'm looking better than before. I was looking a little rough before. And it's like, it's trigger number something. And then they would make it like I'm a narcissist for saying something like this. But this is what I'm dealing with, y'all. I'm telling you. The day I was doing my hair, they're doing all kinds of horrible, weird stuff. They kept diving the mosquito in my face while I'm in there trying to do my hair. They took the water. Now today it was just nonstop gang stalking stuff. And I kept trying to ignore it, like, okay. And ignored, and they're sending weird stuff with the technology. And I'm like, okay. And they keep sending stuff about needing to be humbled and a narcissist. And she wants attention and she's doing everything for attention and this and that. And the fly keep diving by and they keep sending me notifications. And I'm like, huh? What are they talking about? I was like, okay. I'm wearing busted, raggy workout clothes and I could have bought new ones, and I even made a note to do that just because of what they're doing, to actually really act flashy now. And I still didn't do it. I took my money and I bought groceries, and I still have the money to where I can buy some cute workout clothes, and I still don't care to do it. They should have seen me they did actually. They saw me when I was a teacher. Every day I was wearing a new dress. They used to compliment me in there all the time and tell me my clothes look nice. Every day I was wearing a new dress and heels. And my nails were done. I'm not even doing half of what I used to do. And it's like they're fucking triggered for simple shit. So anyway, I comb my hair. I notice as I'm combing my hair and I'm getting it styled, they're chirping and going crazy in the background. I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I do the hair, I leave, I go to the gym. Now I'm just trying to, work out and do my thing. I noticed some activity by the barbell, first of all. I did go later than I typically do, though. So I tried to not acknowledge it. I said, well, you know what? This is not my gym. People do genuinely, even though the gang stalk like crazy, especially when they're triggered about stuff, they'll set stuff up. But I'm like, this ain't my gym, and people do come and genuinely work out, and I did come a little bit later today. So let me just move on to humble. And I'll just go find another barbell. All the barbells all of a sudden were preoccupied. And right next to me set up was this older man in a green shirt. And then this Arab dude in the background. So I'm like, okay. I'm just ignoring the shit and doing my thing as usual. I just completely ignored it and was doing my thing. I didn't act rude. I didn't think any nasty thoughts. Nothing. I just went and got one of the other barbells, one of the shorter ones that had 70 pounds on it. And I took it over to the rack. And I did my workout. Completely ignored them. Then when I'm leaving, I pack up my stuff and stuff. I'm walking away from the area. I see the Arab guy watching me. I was like, okay. I'm like, what is going on? So I just walked away. I don't have an issue with anybody in there. I'm like, okay, why are they doing this today? I thought we were on a better note. I thought last night they were making a bunch of noises about me getting my job back and stuff, and things were better. So I just ignored it. I continued to ignore it. I go over to the leg curl area. I do my thing over there. Then I left. I told the gym owner, I said, hey, have a good one. I took my phone off. I told him have a good one. He said, have a good weekend. That was it. I left. So now I notice as I'm driving on the road and stuff, they just keep sending weird stuff with the technology. Like I went over to this blog site I used to listen to before I was a target. So I've been listening to her for years, but a lot of these blog sites I don't listen to anymore because of what they do with the technology, where everything you're listening to, they're sending sensitization. The AI shadow networking technology I've told y'all about. Excuse me. Sorry, y'all. I just drank some beet juice. If you're not familiar, check out the links in the description box and comment section and learn about this technology. Anyway, so they do stuff and they create weird stuff, false narratives and stuff with the technology. So it's just like, I can't even watch the stuff I used to watch. They're constantly making stuff about stuff that I don't even care about. But they're constantly doing that and creating these false narratives. So I don't really listen to that stuff anymore. But I said, I'm driving, I'm heading down to the other end of the island. Let me just, just to listen to something. I said, let me find something I can click on. So I just started clicking on the different videos, and everything I clicked on was full of sensitization. I could click on something that had nothing to do with me, and they would start inserting stuff with the technology. So eventually I was just laughing because I realized what they were putting in there. I was like, okay, they're obviously bothered today about something. Maybe my hair looks nice or something. This is what I'm thinking in my head because it's the type of stuff they were sending to me. That she's a narcissist and this and that. And just weird stuff. And her star just started rising because of this and that. And I'm like, huh? And needing to be humbled and just weird stuff, man, that they're sending to me. I'm like, delusional type stuff. I'm like, why are they sending this stuff to me? And everything she did was for attention. And she's not working a real 9 to 5. She's on her ass doing handstands and flips. They're talking about this girl, man, from Love and Hip Hop, who had children with this man that she knew was a dog, and that, he had a girlfriend at the time when she had children for him, actually. And he has kids with a bunch of females. He has kids everywhere, all over the fucking place. But he was rich at one point in time. He was like a producer or something like that. That's how she got on Love and Hip Hop, the show Love and Hip Hop, because he obviously is the hip hop. So she had kids with him and she was living this lavish lifestyle or whatever. And now things have kind of fallen off for him. He has all these kids all over the place he has to take care of. So he was allowing her, I guess when they were still dealing or messing around, to stay in the apartment with the kids, and he was paying for the rent or whatever. And then she got a man. And the man it seemed like a scrub or whatever the case is. And so obviously he ain't paying the bills no more. So she ended up homeless in the streets. And so that's what the video was about. Of course, I'm listening because I just was clicking on random videos. And I watch Love and Hip Hop. I'm familiar with them. I'm like, there's no way they're going to make this about me. There's no way. I'm like, I have no kids. I'm independent. I take care of myself. Even despite the targeting, I still take care of myself. I'm like, there's no way they're making this about me. So I didn't even feel concerned that they were going to make it about me. I'm just listening to the thing like, okay, whatever. I'm listening to it. I noticed they start diving the bird down when they're saying, and all she did was, she was seeking attention. Everything she did was for attention. And she's doing handstands and making videos and nobody gives a fuck, bitch. And she just wants attention. I'm like, what are you talking about? I've been begging y'all to take the fucking cameras off me. But you're so fucking entertained and attracted to me that you won't take the cameras. I've been begging you to do it. I'm doing stuff for attention because I'm working out? Really? When I don't have shit going on, everything's blocked up, pretty much. Everything I do is triggering you. Working out is doing stuff for attention. Combing my fucking hair. I'm wearing raggy workout clothes. I was just like, I'm still laughing, I'm still laughing at them. I'm just like, okay, this is hilarious. I'm like, they're obviously triggered today. Because they kept sending the stuff back to back and talking about, every video I'm clicking on is talking about narcissist this and narcissist that. I'm like, narcissist, and I'm wearing raggy workout clothes? I'm barely even dressing up? Because I combed my hair? I still wasn't bothered. I still thought the shit was funny. Then I get home just now. They're still sending stupid retarded shit while I'm trying to make my juice, my pineapple juice for my fridge. I'm like, this is hilarious. I'm still like just kind of laughing it off, right? I'm just like, okay, they're obviously triggered today. That's why they're sending all this stupid shit. I come in my room now, I'm taking my vitamins. Like I do every night, every day. All of a sudden this video comes out with a girl and she's talking about, some next girl from another reality TV show. And she's apparently like messing with this dude that's messing with multiple females, another situation like that. And because he's taking care of her, she's taking the abuse. He's abusing her. Apparently she caught some sort of I guess you could call it an STD. I don't think bacterial vaginosis is an STD. You can get bacterial vaginosis from being uncleanly. From what I heard, I've never had it. But I heard you can get bacterial vaginosis. It's just bacteria is what it is, a buildup of bacteria in the vagina. But it can be sexually transmitted. So if you're messing with a dude that's messing with multiple females and you don't use protection, you can get BV from him. So anyway, apparently, she all this kind of crazy shit with the girl where she got bacterial vaginosis from the man and all kind of nastiness was going on in the video. I was just like, what the hell is this? The video actually just went into it by accident. I didn't click on that one. It went into it like automatic into automatic next video. And of course I just start listening because I'm familiar with these characters. They're from, what's the channel? The Zeus channel. And a lot of these girls were on shows I used to watch back in the day, like Bad Girls Club, Natalie Nunn, and those type of people like that, man. Most girls watch those type of shows, or at least did at one point in time in their life. So I said, what? I'm listening now. Because it sounds like intense drama. I'm like, oh my, okay. That is happening. What the heck? Then I come in here, like I said, to take my vitamins, and they show this girl that was talking about the girl, talking about her like a dog, and talking about how, bitch, your boss wants to fire you, bitch. And she said, bitch. She kept saying the word bitch. Remember, they keep trying to insinuate that I'm a bitch, right? Even though it's gaslighting. Because my bitchery response is just that, a response to abuse. And even when I'm humble, and I'm moving on to humble, there's still abuse in me. I'm supposed to like, and smile? You want me to be a doormat and let you keep abusing me? That's why I'm a bitch? Anyway, so, nonetheless, she's like, bitch, bitch. She kept saying bitch. I already knew it was Shadow Network. And from the time she kept saying bitch, 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 I was like, okay, this is Shadow Network. This is definitely Shadow Network. She kept saying bitch every 5 seconds. Bitch, bitch. I was like, oh boy, this turned to Shadow Network again. I said, oh boy. Right? I said, let me just, whatever. I kept taking the vitamins. I wasn't about to put aside what I had because I have a whole spread of vitamins I'm taking. And I wasn't about to put it to the side to change the video. I was just like, they've been doing this all day. They're obviously triggered or whatever's going on. I don't care. But then I start saying some really low down stuff, especially considering what I've dealt with these jobs, the unfair treatment. I'm talking about how, bitch, your boss doesn't even like you. Your boss wants to fire you, bitch. And he had that bitch set straight. He had that bitch set straight. And when he told her jump, she jumped. And this and that, whatever crazy weird shit that they were saying. Then it randomly said something about changing in the thing. But I'm like, change? I haven't even done anything. You just want an excuse for, again, abusing me for no reason. And it's like, your boss wants to fire you, bitch, and you don't fit in, bitch. You don't fit in, bitch. I'm like, okay, I'm targeted. I never had an issue with fitting in before. I'm a target. I'm not here to make friends. I would like to work and make money and go home. But you don't fit in, bitch. Your boss wants to fire you, bitch. So after she's saying all this horrible stuff and how he had her in line and when they said jump, she jumped and this and that, I'm just thinking about the noose they have around my neck and how my life used to be before my targeting, where I had so many options. And any job I wanted, I pretty much could get, was attainable to me. It's the point where I turned down a teaching offer because I knew I could get more offers and I could probably find something more suitable for me. But I just keep thinking about the unfair treatment that I get and how they pulled the call center job for me just because I did the job correctly. And the girls that were cackling in the back, kind of had this look on. I'm like, what the fuck? So anyway, I still wasn't going to do anything though. I was just like, oh boy, they're getting real nasty now. I said they were real bothered today is all I could think in my head. But I was like, I'm still not going to say anything. Biting my lip as usual. Right? But then when the video ends, they send the notification. They shoot the notification. Mind you, they were just flying the plane by overhead super loud, close to my house and big chirping and all this kind of stuff last night when I was talking about what they did to me at the call center, about me getting my job back and all this stuff, like they're going to give me my job back. It's this weird bipolar weird shit I'm dealing with, and it's like I'm on eggshells too. It's like they want me to put a paper bag on and move around like a bum looking stink, and then they'll feel happy and content. And I won't get attacked. I'm supposed to go to the job and not do the job. I'm doing the job, they're firing me. I'm sitting in the corner trying to isolate because I'm annoying you, they're firing me. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. What the fuck? And then they won't let me go. I could literally thrive. I have so much potential. It's just crazy, weird shit, man. I can't deal with it. And the same job that they're talking about too, but your boss wants to fire you, bitch. When they thought I was going to teach again, and my mom was coming to me talking about how she spoke to the lady in the Department of Education and go fill out the application and stuff, and I was excited. Again, another false dead end, right? But anyway, I was excited. I went into the store, and literally, I kid you not, that same day, one of the workers from the job came to the job and was making conversation with me and telling me they need workers. I'm like, what is going on? I'm not used to dealing with crazy shit like this, I'm not used to it. Anyway, y'all, I had to document. It's like more abuse. It's like more weird stuff. I'm documenting, y'all. I'm dealing with weird stuff. It's weird. Anyways, I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace out. Y'all, a couple things I wanted to expound on. So the first thing, what I was just talking about at the end of the last clip, where I was talking about when I do the job, they're firing me, and if I don't do the job, they're firing me, right? And other targets have talked about this before too, but this is something different going on with me, right? But with the call center job, and that kind of ties into one of the notes I made, because there are like 4 things I wanted to talk about, right? With the call center job, I had a student that was in there, and I believe that was gang stalking. At this point now, I think, it was gang stalking, because it's a coincidence that they used that student specifically. Because when I first got back on island from trying to relocate and, things blowing up in the mainland, in the States, and my targeting going viral, when I got back on island, there's like this shopping center that's really close to my neighborhood. And so I used to jog to that shopping center. And when I was still taking the whey protein, I would go into Kmart in the shopping center and I would get whey protein. And so I remember back then I was still reacting to seeing students, because at that time, that was shortly after, I had just recently resigned from being a teacher. That was that same year, so it wasn't like now where I'm numb to it. It's been years now at this point that I've been back. It's been like 4 years that I've been back now. It's not as fresh. And so I'm kind of desensitized, if you will. I talked about this in the last video. So I can see students now or coworkers now from the old job, and it's like this dull ache, but it's not this embarrassing, painful thing anymore. But I remember when I went into the shopping center, I saw that student, I had this reaction. I was embarrassed and I was kind of trying to avoid contact. And so, of course, the program honed in on what was going on, and I talked about it in a video. So for her to be, out of all the students I taught so many students, y'all. I was teaching for 2 years. And every semester you have 3 classes, and the classes were packed. Some of my classes had up to 27 students in it. Out of all the students I taught, what are the odds that one that I had the reaction to would be in the call center? So I do remember wondering if they had her there on like a gang stalking tip. But I wasn't sure. It seemed like that could have possibly been the case. Anyway, I remember there was a day where she and the new trainees, they had some new trainees that they were training at the time for the call center when I had started working the post as a security guard. But remember, it was a specific type of post where the security guard for that post deals with the computer, and you have to learn the system and learn how to issue temporary badges, how to deactivate badges, etc. Keep track of the cameras, whatever. So anyway, a lot of those girls, there was like a handful of new girls coming in for the call center itself. This day in particular, those girls, including my student, my former student, was in the back room, where the computers are, and I was in the front. So I remember the student coming out, and she, asked me if I could help her print something. And so when I did open the email and I found the thing that she was trying to get me to print, I saw that it was sent from a different email address. So she told me, yes, it's one of the girls back there whose email address she sent it from, but they can't figure out how to print it and how to use the printer. So I clicked on it and I tried to print it myself, and it wasn't as simple as just opening the printer and clicking print. There was some sort of specification where you had to fit it to the page. So it was some sort of document that had these weird measurements. And so you have to click fit to page in order to get it to print. So I know how to do that. I'm good with computers. Like I said, I was teaching virtually. I had to handle all kinds of different operating systems that's designed for distant learning. So I had to learn these things quickly, right? So I knew there was supposed to be an option called fit to page, but I just couldn't find it. And so I think this is the issue they were having back there, because all those girls were new. These were not the older, experienced workers that day. They had all the new girls back there. So I'm just clicking through, looking through, and playing with stuff like I usually do. And I figured out how, the fit to page option. I found it. So I got it to print. And I went back there and I told my former student, I said, hey, I got it to print. I said, so just go ahead and print it. So she said, okay. And she looked kind of confused. So I remember her standing up and going to the printer and pressing a few buttons. And then she put her hands up like this and said she didn't know how to do it. So I remember thinking to myself, well, I don't know how to do it either. I haven't used this printer. Every printer is different, but I'm sure I could figure it out. So I remember going out to the front just to set my stuff down. They start flying the flyby. Look at them putting the fly. You see, they know exactly what happened, man. You see them flying the fly? That's why they set up the thing with the custodial worker. And it seemed like they were trying to stump me, and I still figured it out. So anyways, so when I went out there, I just was going out there to rest my stuff down. They were, look at them flying to fly again. You see the craziness? They're saying they kept flying to fly by and flying it by and flying it by, right? And I said, I'm going to go figure it out. I said, I don't really know how to use that printer like that, but I can go figure it out. So I went back there and I started trying to figure out how to print it for her. So they had... So I went out there, y'all, trying to figure out how to print it for her. And they had two different printer trays, and the other one was hidden to the side of the printer. So you would have had to play around with that printer and start pulling stuff out to realize that there was a second paper tray. And it was the same exact paper tray as the top paper tray that was the obvious paper tray that you would think was the paper tray that needed to be loaded. So it was saying load paper. It said follow instructions, and it was telling you the instructions of how to load the paper, and they had different measurements. So you had to match the paper measurement to the print, right? Whatever size you printed. So I did that, and I was matching. I grabbed the correct measured paper. I grabbed the paper with the correct measurements, y'all, because they had different papers, right? They had like a whole tray of different sized papers. And I read what size my paper was at when I had fit it to the page. And I found that measurement, and I pulled out that paper, and I was loading it into the tray, but it still wasn't working. So I'm like, what is going on? They kept flying to fly by, flying to fly by. And so I realized, I started pulling stuff out. I was like, there has to be another paper tray because I'm doing this correctly. I know I know I grabbed the correct paper. That's the correct measurement. And I'm loading it into the paper tray the way that the thing is showing me to do it. So I'm like, there has to be another paper tray. So I started pulling out stuff, and I realized to the side, it was so stupid that they didn't have that instruction there. To the side of the printer was a second paper tray, hidden paper tray is what I'm calling it. And I loaded it in, and then the thing printed. And so my student looked relieved, and she told me, thank you. I said, no problem. So after that, the technology kept sending me stuff about being good at computers. After that, something simple like that, that's simple like office work, man, administrative type stuff, which is work I've done in the past, by the way. But anyway, they kept sending stuff like that with the technology, and then the thing with the cleaning lady happened for a few nights, and then I think they were trying to stump me. I think that's what they were trying to do with that scenario with that cleaning lady that didn't really work there. And so when I figured it out and I was able to get, whatever, then a week later it was just this weird thing where I lost my hours at the job. So that's why I said what I said about fired if I do my job and fired if I don't, because at the facility, right, it was the opposite where they were making it like I wasn't doing my job. Because when I first got there, a lot of the guards seemed annoyed with me and like they didn't want to train me. And they were acting like my breath stunk, even though I was wearing a mask and brushing my teeth and mouthwash and all this type of stuff like that. And so it started off with me being enthused, and wanting to do the job and wanting to learn. And then it turned into this thing where I'm isolating off into the corner and I'm grabbing a coloring book and I'm in the corner coloring because it felt so uncomfortable. And then that was one of the main reasons why they fired me, because I was not paying attention and not doing my job. So that's what I meant when I made that comment about fired if I do my job, fired if I don't do my job. Because it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't type of situation. Anyway, let me see what else I want to talk about. Cop car driving by when I left gym. Oh yeah, talking about earlier, what I said in the prior clip, y'all. This is how I know it was gang stalking going on in the gym, because then when I left the gym and I got to my car, a cop car drove by slowly. When they start putting cops on top of me and security guards and stuff, I know it's a day where they're triggered about something and they're trying to get under my skin. Because then it was also, this thing when I went to the grocery store. They never have security guards follow me around the grocery store. I'm by the fruit area. I noticed the security guard is walking slowly back there. I'm like, huh? Since when? So it's just like, it was like a bunch of gang stalking stuff today, man. I did see some teal throughout the day, but I mean, that didn't make much of a difference. Remember I told you sometimes they use teal on me. The color teal is like some sort of positive reinforcement. I did see some teal here and there. I don't even know if that was associated with the program. I don't think it was with the stuff they were doing. I don't think so. But I did see some teal off and on, like at 3 or 4 different occasions. I did see some teal. So I don't know if it was a coincidence or what, but it doesn't make a difference. Today was horrible. So I talked about the security guard following me, making everything about me and calling me a narcissist. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about that, y'all. I'm not going to talk about it too much. I already made a video about this. A whole video about, them using the moniker, the title narcissist, when they're making everything about you and they're following you around with cameras like you're a reality TV star. You're begging them to take the cameras. They won't take it. And then they're saying you want the attention because you're living your life. So it's this weird psychological warfare thing that they're doing. Like, you're literally making everything about this person Everything I'm watching is sending sensitization and diving the bird down and making stuff about me. But then you're calling me a narcissist and I'm actually literally begging you to take the cameras. It's just ludicrous. It's psychological warfare. And really, a lot of the stuff that they were sending earlier wouldn't have been as triggering had they not been diving the bird down and, sending notifications every time certain things would play. So I knew they were really like feeling what was being said. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? What is the issue today? And when I say sending the notification, y'all, remember I told you they use that as a form of antagonization. That's why I have all of my notifications turned off, every single one. But somehow they still figured out a way to send notifications via my earphones. So they can send the notification that says via the health app, and you can't delete the health app, that says, like a warning that your volume is too loud. So that's the only notification I haven't been able to turn off. And so they use that as a way to gain stock. So if something sensitizing plays on my phone, like I play a video that's full of sensitization with their technology, the AI shadow networking software, then sometimes to antagonize, they'll send a notification. So that's what I meant when I said in the last clip they would send a notification. There's one more thing. Expound on change. That last, towards the end of the last clip where I was talking about what they were doing when I was taking my vitamins, with that video with the girl that was talking about bitch. And I told you she briefly mentioned change. That's something they send to me often, like hinting that if I change, then, things will get better. Like I can get out the program or something. It's like this gaslighting thing, because I could be acting as humble as ever, like today, and not doing anything, and they're still just attacking me unprovoked and punishing me for things that are out of my control. But they'll send the word change when they're doing these abusive tactics. And I'm like, change? It's not even like I did anything today. I didn't have a bad reaction. I didn't do anything different than I normally do, aside from the fact that my hair is just in a different style now. I'm like, what do you mean change? What did I do for you to be telling me change? It's craziness, y'all. I just wanted to talk about it, man. That's it. That's all I wanted to expound on, y'all. All right, peace out.